for this one right here, you want to make sure, this is number 10. It says 4 out of 5 people have seen a bald eagle. So 4 out of 5, this is our ratio. Remember, a percent, let's start with our formula. A percent is a part to whole ratio that you compare, that you want to become percent. Per 100 is percent. So our formula for percent is going to be part over whole is equal to part percent over the whole percent, which is always 100. So I'm going to put, this side is represented by my ratio, and this side is represented by my percent. So my ratio is going to be 4 over 5. But you have to know that it says 4 out of every 5 people have seen. So this 4 represents the people that have seen bald eagles. So I'm going to put an equal sign, and then I want to get the percent. So I'm going to put per 100. I want that percent because the question is asking for the percent of people that have not seen. So you either have seen or you have not seen. And then together is going to be the whole percent. So we have to keep that in mind. So if 4/5 represents what you have seen, 1/5 represents what you have not seen. So keep that in mind. Now we can use equivalent ratios, or you can put an X right here and solve for the variable. I'm just going to use equivalent ratios. How do you start with 5 and end up with 100? Well, 5 times what number? 5 times what number is equal to 100? That number is going to be 20. So 5, you can use division, 100 divided by 5. 5 times 20 will give me 100. So I need to go for my numerator and multiply 4 times the same number 20 to get 80%. So since this 4 right here represents the seen, seen needs to be equivalent to percent seen. But the question says, what is the percent of not seen? So if the whole percent is 100%, that's seen and unseen, seen and not seen, and I take away, this is the whole, I take away the 80% that's seen, the rest is going to be what you have not seen. So it's going to be 20%. So how can you keep track of this? Since the 4 represented seen in the original question, seen can only be equivalent to the percent seen. It's not going to be the final answer. So you have to pay attention to what those numbers equal and only set it equivalent to that. So let's put 20 right here. That's that one. That was number 10. Number 11, I guess I can do this one. So for this question, we have our ratio. Remember, you can write ratios as fractions. So it says 9 as the first term and 10 as the second term. So you can write that as 9 over 10. And then you put your equal sign. And this is already as a fraction, so you have a missing box over 100. So you literally just use equivalent ratios. 10 times 10 will give you 100. So you multiply 9 times 10 to get 90. And since percent is per 100, you can write this as 90%. So you will put 90 here, and you will put 90% there. That one is straightforward. This one, you want to start with 19 yards. You can use equivalent ratios to put it over 1. Multiply by your conversion factor, which is right here. Since yards is in the numerator, you want yards in the denominator, so it'll cancel out. So for every 1 yard, I'm going to put 1 yard in the denominator. There are 3 feet, so I'm going to put 3 feet in the numerator. Yards is going to cancel out with yards, because since I have yards in the numerator and yards in the denominator, anything divided by itself equals 1, just like 8 divided by 8 equals 1. So that cancels out. And once I multiply 19 times 3 feet, I'll have my answer. 19 times 3 feet, which is 57 feet. And then for our denominator, we have 1 times 1, so no need for me to bring that over because that's just going to be 1, and 57 divided by 1 is just 57. So you can set it up, or you can use equivalent ratios, which both of those will be on your test. Here is another one. So we want to write our ratio. So our ratio is an unknown number. So we have to write our ratio as a percent. So it's an unknown number as the first term over 25. And then I want to set it equivalent to my fraction, which is 16 over 100. So I need to figure out 25 times what number will give me 100. 25 times what number will give me 100. So if you use the inverse operation of multiplication, that will be division. So get your variable on one side of the equal sign by itself. So we're dividing both sides by 25. To see x is equivalent to the number that we need to multiply by 25 is 4. So that means that 25 times 4 is equal to 100. So 25 times 4 will give me that 100 that I need. So that means 25 times 4 should give me, or a number times 4 should give me 16. A number times 4 should give me 16. Or you could say 100 divided by 4 will give me 25. So 16 divided by 4 will give me my missing value, which is 4. 16 divided by 4 is 4. So the number that I need right here is going to be a 4. And then since my fraction says 16 over 100, and percent is percent per 100, I can just put the numerator as my percent. So it's 16%, 16 per 100 for each or for every 100. So I'm going to put 4 right here, and I'm going to put 16 right here. Now this is just an equivalent fraction. It says 44 over 50. Now this represents the coins that are quarters. So this is quarters. So I put my equal sign and it says what percent. So I need to figure out what is my numerator. So I've multiplied by 2, multiplied by 2. This 88% is represented by quarters because the 44 was quarters and it can only be equivalent to quarters. So since this question is asking for the percent of coins that are quarters, it's going to be 88%. Now, if it said the percent that is not quarters, if the question said what percent is not quarters, then you would have to subtract. If it said not quarters, that means the rest is going to obviously not be quarters. So 100% is the whole percent. So if 88% represents quarters, that means the rest is not going to be quarters, 22%. So keep that in mind. You have to pay attention to what the numerator of the ratio is represented by.